Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 400, American Marxism. And so, I have 9 kids. I'm Catholic Dad. I'm a radiologist. So I've been a physician. I've been in practice now, private practice over 14 years. And when I was a resident back in years and years and years ago, back in Syracuse, New York, there was a radiology resident that was a resident with me, and she grew up as a physician under Ceausescu, which was Soviet-style communism, the worst of all Soviet dictators in Romania. And so, well, anyway, so we had a residence lounge. I was always talking politics and conspiracy theories in the residence lounge, and always giving my opinion about, the Roman Catholic faith and politics and like the world at large, And as you can imagine, there's 20 people in a room, and Catholic Dad screaming and yelling. Some people are going to actually give some resistance to my positions. Well, anyway, so there I am, and I was always fighting with everybody, and everybody's fighting with me, and it was fun. Everybody had a pretty good time, dialoguing with each other. And one day, the physician from Romania speaks up, and she says, Sancherico is the only one that understands communism. That she said, I grew up in Romania, like the worst form of communism, and your form of communism, America, is far worse than my form of communism was, because you don't even know you're in communism. And she would say that we at least knew we were slaves. We at least knew we were oppressed by our government. But you people actually think you're free in America. And she said, you just wait. You just wait. One day they're going to flip the switch on you, and you're going to be a communist nation in no time at all, and you won't even know what hit you. And that was really like amazing to me that she said this. And every now and then she'd come up to me, and like after I gave a little diatribe about something, or some kind of like tyrannical dictatorship type speech that I would give about the New World Order and the oppression of the Roman Catholic Church and so on and so forth. And she'd come up to me and she would say, "Are you ready, comrade? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for what's next?" And like it was be kind of this acknowledgement that, yeah, that communism is bad. It's insidious, and it can actually control things like way faster than you think it can control it. Well, anyway, so that brings us to 2020. And when the COVID broke out, I had very early on, I had inclinations that I thought this was some sort of Marxist move, like some sort of Marxist move of control of the people. And I had this dream. It was called my martyr dream. I actually made a video about it, about that. I was actually martyred. And the troops would come in and try to take me away, and like ask me to give up my faith in the Lord and the faith in the church, and I wouldn't do it. And eventually I got martyred and killed. But well, anyway, so I woke up from the martyr dream. This is back in like February, like early on in the COVID crisis. And I told my kids, I said, listen, kids, I don't, Daddy may have to go away sometime. And they said, well, why would you have to go away, Dad? And I said, I don't know. I just, I'm either have to going to go away and die for my faith, or I'm going to have to go away and fight, which that's Marxism, right? Like if the hard left is going to rise, you have to either resist it or be killed by it. That's what happened in Soviet Russia. And so my kids were like, they didn't fully understand, but I'll tell you what, as this COVID thing unplays and the things that are going on, the Antifa, the race riots, the BLM, on like the takedown of the police, takedown of the authority, you name it. And the harder the globalists push, the more apparent it would appear as if this is a Marxist revolution to globalize our country and take down our national sovereignty. That's what Marxism is. And I don't know if everybody realizes this, but we're in a Marxist revolution right now. And it's kind of up to you people out there to actually A, acknowledge it, but B, number one, you got to start praying really hard about it. And you got to get your life in order, because if they come and get you one day, they ain't going to bring you to a priest before they put you in a Soviet gulag, Soviet-style gulag. This will be quick, and you'll be stuck there without any kind of chance of redemption, And it sounds hysterical, it really does. But this is how I think it's going to play out. Are you ready for this? So, so if Trump doesn't get elected and Biden gets elected, and Biden's obviously the leftist, he's the Marxist branch of this, and he's not really Marxist. He's just he's a demented old guy that's being controlled by New World Order. That's the Marxist movement. Kamala Harris, I would think that she's probably Marxist, but if they win, they're gonna start coming quickly, right? And they foment this revolution amongst people. Eventually, somebody's going to take firearms onto another group of citizens, right? And so you will hear it, the drum beats for the seizing of firearms to stop the civil war that's occurring in America. It's going to be strong. And so we have two choices at that point in time. Americans, either we can just roll over and give our firearms up, and then I tell you we will go into a Marxist dictatorship like that. It will be amazing overnight, and you won't even know what hit you, and you will regret it day after day after day very quickly if you actually give up your firearms. The other thing is then, like if they call for the seizing the firearms and the people say no, well then that's why America will remain free. Even if you don't give them over, right? Like you literally just say, I'm not doing it, and you don't have to do anything violent at all. You don't even have to use them. If firearms stay in the population, the Marxists won't be able to control you because you maintain meaningful resistance against a tyrannical regime. And this sounds hysterical to you, but it's true. And so I would encourage everybody here, absolutely everybody here that's listening right now, just don't give up your firearms. If you do that, that's the ultimate security against Soviet-style Marxism taking over in this country. And it very well could, by the way. Like everybody looks at the Soviets and you say, oh, they were just weak. Americans are strong. Baloney. The Soviets were orthodox. They were probably they had a better moral foundation than we do. They were probably tougher and stronger and so on and so forth. Americans are very soft. We could easily flip over to a Soviet-style communism very, very, very quickly. Now, the other option is this, right? Trump gets elected, which I suspect he's going to, and it's going to be a landslide, okay? And so the cities will rise. The amount of race riots and like looting and pillaging is going to occur, like that's occurring, is going to increase dramatically. And so what happens whenever you have a hard Marxist leftist push? Well, the strongman always rises, right? And so Trump is that strongman. He's the Pinochet of Chile. He's the Franco of Spain. And he will crush the rebellion, and it will happen rather rapidly. And the problem with that is, once you start crushing your fellow man, now you have a problem, right? You're kind of a tyrannical rightist dictator. So you have your hard left tyrannical rightist, or the hard left dictators, and you have the hard right dictators. And the people have to really put checks and balances on it when the Marxism gets shut down. And what will happen, by the way, people will be arrested in droves in the cities, and they will be put into federal prisons for years and years and years of their lives just to dissuade them from doing any more action. But they will be waiting quietly. It's not like they're going to go away. They're just going to go into hiding. And our country, like Reagan once said in the 60s, I think it was 67, he said that, freedom and liberty is like one generation away from ending. Like literally every generation has to fight for it. And right now, I would suggest we are in a fight in our life for our freedom and our liberty, and our religious freedom, by the way, being Roman Catholic. And if you don't know anything about Soviet-style communism, if you're Roman Catholic and you speak it unapologetically, you are the target of the next Marxist revolution. They will come and get you because literally it's the Roman Catholic Church that opposes Soviet-style communism. The communists, by the way, I don't even know if you know this, they actually they believe that the Protestants are their natural allies. Well, why? Because it confuses the people. Like everybody's like, oh, there's not one truth, there's many truths. And oh, by the way, now we have to start battling with each other and resisting each other. What does that do? It doesn't unify the people. It separates and divides the people so they're more easily controllable. That's why there's, I don't know if you know this, but there was American Baptists in Russia. It was weird, right? Why are the American Baptists there? Because the communists invited them in. They actually went to America. They recruited them and said, come convert the Orthodox to baptism, to Baptist. And they did. They actually came in and confused the people. I think Putin kicked them out. Putin kicked out a whole bunch of different Protestant religions. Because he's trying to rescue his nation, I believe. But nonetheless, okay, so let's wrap this up really quickly. America right now, whether you know it or not, you're in a battle for your national sovereignty against a globalist New World Order. Soviet-style Marxism is trying to take over your nation. And literally the two things you have to do, well, three things. Get to Mass and live a sacramental life, right? That's number one. Number two, you got to pray a lot. And number three, literally just don't give up your firearms. You are a natural resistor if you're well armed. That's it. That's all you have to do. And the Marxists will succumb to that. They will not be able to overcome. But if you guys start caving out of fear, out of like fear of your family, fear of your own personal lives, fear of your security, you will abrogate your duty and you will give up liberty. And this place could fall to Marxism. It really could. Well, anyway, I guess that's all I want to say. This is Catholic Dad. Read the Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. One of the greatest literary novels in the history of the last 100 years, if not the last 500 years. It's about literally the day in the life of somebody living in the Gulag Archipelago, how it played out. And if you don't think it could happen here, read that book and the hell that the communists can unleash upon you to make you submit and be part of their system. Like, if you think you're strong enough not to be a communist, well, I have news for you, because there's not 999 out of 1,000 people that can resist it once they have power over you. Like, I'll give you an example. They used to put people in two by two cells in the freezing cold, like 30-degree weather, naked. They'd put you in these cells so you couldn't sit down. You couldn't sleep. Just stand up, lean against the wall. And they'd leave you there for like 30 hours or whatever it is. Then they'd take you out, and then they'd beat you. Like, when I say beat you, like hit you in the genitalia, so on and so forth, and tell you to admit to certain crimes under Article 58 of the Soviet rules of conduct. And if you didn't submit, they'd put you right back in again, and they'd starve you to death, and eventually you'd drop and die. And people eventually, just to make the hell stop, they'd say, I did it. And then you'd go off to the Gulag and you'd be part of their system. And you would not resist it, because you did not want to go back into the torture chambers. If you think you're strong enough to resist that, I have another thing to tell you. You're probably not. So get your prayer life strong. Get your fasting life strong. Don't ever give up your firearms, and remain truthful to the church. And do not denounce the Lord or his church. This is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe, get the Mass, and pray the daily rosary. God bless you all.